everyone. This is Sincere, a teacher Sincere's channel, and welcome once again. So this is a video I'm going to do a talk about a book I finished reading recently. I've been debating with myself whether to turn my channel into just a booktube channel, and I'm still debating. I haven't come to any final decision yet. So it will be coming though, sooner or later. But I'm thinking very much that I will probably turn it into totally booktube. I do enjoy making the little mini documentaries, but what I call them little documentaries, little presentations. But it's much more easier for me just to talk about books, okay? And the choice of books is always endless. I will be doing fiction and nonfiction, okay? But I haven't come to a final decision yet, but I will let you know. And I'm stuttering, okay? All right. I don't have a copy of the book that I recently finished reading this week, but I will show you up here in the thumbnail. I'll show you both copies. I read a book published in 1958 called The Best of Everything by American author Rona Jaffe. There was a book made about it, based on it, the following year in 1959, also called The Best of Everything. And then later in 1970, there was a very brief, soap opera series that ran from, I think, about March until September of 1970. And so, so I had been thinking about reading The Best of Everything for quite some time. I'm intrigued by the title. I figured that it would not exactly be my cup of tea. It wasn't. I saw the movie years ago, but I can't remember hardly anything about it. So that lets me know that it didn't make a big impression or a big splash with me. But if you are into chick lit or you like women's literature about relationships and everything, this will definitely be your cup of tea, okay? Now, The Best of Everything is not considered really, it's on a higher level, it's considered, than chick lit, okay? It was actually, they actually put it out, it's also in Penguin Classics. And I think in some ways it deserves to be there, because when Rona Jaffe published it in the late 1950s, it made quite a sensation at the time. It was considered racy, scandalous, but not in like a joyous way. I wouldn't say that this is not a joyous book. It's not like, oh, we're having a good time. Some people have compared it to Sex and the City and Mad Men, which I've never really seen either one of those TV series. The little bit that I've seen, the clips from Sex and the City, the women seem to be enjoying themselves, but I wouldn't say this in this book, okay? The Best of Everything was set in the early 1950s in New York City. The main characters are a group of young women from different backgrounds. The book starts off, it introduces Carolyn Bender. She is fresh out of an Ivy League college, and she has moved to New York City to work up until she hopes that she gets married. She's also licking her wounds because she was dating a guy, Eddie, and Eddie ended up and jilted her and ended up marrying this girl from a rich family. And so when she moves to New York, she's sort of trying to recover from, being ditched by her, the guy that she really loved, Eddie. There are other girls in the book, Caroline and some of the rest. They work for a publishing company called Fabian Publishing, which seems to put out seems like maybe pulp fiction, not really serious literary stuff. And it's basically just, the whole novel is just rounds of dating, women agonizing over, am I going to get married, or is he serious about me? Is he just playing me? There are a couple of minor characters that do get married, but they are minor. The main characters it's a different story, sort of. They have to go through sort of hell and high water, and don't necessarily get it. And all of them don't necessarily doesn't necessarily succeed in that, but it's a torturous journey. Okay. It's like they're working in New York, fashionable New York, the dream city, and everything is not rosy. Okay. One of the main characters is a young mother. She's divorced. She's like 23 years old and she's divorced. She has a young daughter and she lives with her mother. And there are some more as well. I won't talk about them. But the book, the one thing that I thought that she did well with the book, was, Rona Jaffe really got into the psychology of the characters. She did a lot of description of their inner world and what women go through, with dating. Okay. You see that dating was torturous back then, over 60 years ago, when it was sort of a new, how can I say, lifestyle? I don't know what you call it, a lifestyle or not, but it was torture then and it's still torture now. Okay. I feel like with dating, if you want to be a masochist, do it. Okay. It's really, I don't know, but, that's just my feelings about it. I can really relate to why Muslims devout Muslims don't date. I can see why, because it can be an ugly business. And in this book, you can see what happens. When the book, was written, Rona Jaffe wrote it as a cautionary tale, but the people that read it, a lot of people that read it back then, that were young working women, they took it, she's portraying, she's telling my story and what I'm going through, the sexual harassment, the men pretending that they love you and then they ditch you, and they go on to the next woman, all the sweet talk, all the stuff. And it turns out to be nothing. You waste your time, and go through all sort of agony, abortions and everything. She wrote as a cautionary tale for women. She did not write it like, okay, ladies, this is what you need to be doing. She was like, no, you shouldn't. Rona Jaffe, when she wrote it, she actually herself was an associate editor. She was young and she wrote it in a matter of a few months. I'm going to put the link to the movie in the chat. Not the chat, but rather in the description, and also the link to the book. Now, the book, you can get it wherever you want your books, the bookseller of your choice. So you can get it from Penguin. You can get it from wherever. I read it through the Libby Library app, so I don't have a copy of it. And do I think it deserves to be in Penguin Classics? Probably, yeah. I think it's higher than Chick Lit because she goes into the inner worlds of these young women. Okay. And I think she does a really good job. And the book is agonizing. It's just agonizing. To me, it's a tragedy. It really is very much a tragedy. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads, which is liked. I liked it. I started to give it 4, but like I said, the reason why I didn't give it a higher rating, a 4 or 5-star rating, is because this is not my kind of literature that I like. It's just not. But I was curious about it. I'm intrigued by the name, and I wanted to read it. I've been wanting to read it for quite some time. Years ago, I read a Rona Jaffe novel, Class Reunion, and I liked it at that time. Now, I don't know if I were to read it now, what my impressions would be of it now. I might think it's garbage. But yeah, I read one of her books years ago. But yeah, I just wanted to share that about The Best of Everything. And I also wanted to mention a couple of books that I'm currently reading, okay? If you saw one of my YouTube shorts, the last one I did, I talked about a memoir called Memoirs of a Babylonian Princess, Maria Theresa Asmar, daughter of Emir Abdullah Asmar. This is the book right here. And this is book volume 1. Yesterday, volume 2 came into the mail. This book was published in 1844, and Maria Theresa Asmar lived in what is now Iraq. It was part of the Ottoman Empire at that time, and she lived near Mosul in northern Iraq. She was a Chaldean Christian. And she starts out talking about her childhood, growing up in what is now northern Iraq. All what they had to go through, conflicts with the Muslim neighbors that are sort of more allies. Her father was a devout Christian man, very wealthy, got wealthy twice, lost it twice. She herself at a young age decided that she liked the religious life a lot. And so she started living more as an ascetic, not interested in eating a lot of food, not rich foods, wearing the simplest of clothes, praying all the time. She felt like she was getting ready for the convent or the women's monastery. She was already getting practice for that. As she grew, now I'm midway through the book. This is my bookmark here. Yeah, I have some neat bookmarks. It's wooden, with metal here. But Maria Theresa Asmart, the book is well written, interesting, and the impressive thing about her life was that one of the couple of impressive tidbits. She was an advocate for the education of girls and women. This is way back in the early 1800s. Okay, she also she also did a lot of traveling throughout the Middle East. She traveled to Turkey, the Levant, Lebanon, Jordan, places like that. Yeah. And so, the book is really good. I really like it. Classic. The font in it is it's a copy actually of the original font in the original publication that came out in 1844. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I highly recommend it. I will do a review of, when I finish both volume 1 and volume 2, I will do a review. Also, last night I started reading my first Virginia Woolf, Orlando by Virginia Woolf. I have 2 of her books. I have this one. This is my copy of Orlando. It's a fantasy. It's set over a 300-year period. I've never read one of her books before, so I'm really curious about this. Okay. I have her book about Mrs. Dalloway. I bought it last year, during library book sale, and I talked about it. I showed it in a book haul I did last year. So yeah. So, these are 2 books that I'm reading. There are 2 other books, I think, but I'm not talking about those. 3 other books I'm actually reading. I'm still slowly going through, The City of God by St. Augustine of Hippo. I've decided I'm going to reread it. Now, the copy that I'm reading is actually on Kindle. It's a Kindle copy, and it's on like the complete works of St. Augustine. But I will be getting a copy for my birthday of the Penguin version of St. Augustine of Hippo's The City of God, and I will probably show it later. And it is thick. It's over 1,000+ pages. So, and I was wondering, when am I ever going to finish The City of God? It's just going on and on and on and on. Now, I enjoy it. I love the book, and I decided to go back and read it again because I just love this book of Christian philosophy. I mean, there's so much that St. Augustine talks about. I mean, he starts out in the book arguing, it's a debate against the pagans of his time. Okay. St. Augustine was born in what is now Algeria. He was born in the province of Numidia, in the Roman province of Numidia, and what is now Algeria in North Africa. So, yeah, it's an amazing book, and I've decided I'm going to go back and read it when I get my copy of my birthday. My birthday is later this month. I'm going to go back and start reading it again. I must want to torture myself, but yeah, I just love it. I would recommend that every Christian, mature Christian that is devout in their faith, that wants to learn, should read The City of God. I read St. Augustine's Confession a few years ago. So yeah, and this one's even more interesting than even his Confessions. I like his Confessions, but I really just love The City of God. But anyway, but yeah, I'm going to stop here. So I just want to share what I've been reading lately. The Best of Everything. I do recommend it for women that like, these kind of books, sort of soap opera-ish, but it's more on a higher level than a soap opera. So you might like it. But for me, I see it as a tragedy. It's very sad. I don't like to see people being taken advantage of, and people getting in situations where it's like masochistic. I don't like that. I don't like self-destruction or naivete. The young women in the novel are very naive, very, very naive. You see a lot of people like that, and it's just and I think Rona Jaffe was very brilliant by saying it's a cautionary tale, because even though it was written over 60 years ago, and of course, you can't not in American workplace, you can't do sexual harassment and do that kind of stuff now. But still, the book is still very relevant for now. It's very relevant, particularly in women living in the Western world, and also in cultures that have been influenced by Western society. And I can see, reading this book, I could already see it before the book, but I can see where the Muslims, devout Muslims that go along with what their faith says, that dating is haram or forbidden. I can see why they're right. Because it is really a mess. It's a mess. Yeah. But anyway, that's another story, and I don't want to offend anybody that's into the dating scene, that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm going to end here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be coming back when I finish another book, or maybe presenting something else. But we'll see what that is. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. And so this is Sincere. Until next time.